This is the Beverly Copeland Report. This is part one. I'm going to start off with the political. Today is Saturday, May the 11th. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. I am going to dedicate this show to the loving memory of my mother, Clara Copeland. I have said several through the years that my problem and therefore my mom's problem, activists from left to right have told me my problem, our problem, has been the political leadership. As I have said ad nauseum, I am not a slave. I am the equal of everyone in this country. I have the same guaranteed rights under the Constitution that every other American has. Not only that, but all I am required to do under the Constitution of the United States is to be a law-abiding citizen, which I am. I follow the laws of the land. Moreover, no one has the moral authority or any other authority to break another human being, to make them do things that they refuse to do. Not only that they refuse to do, that they are not required to do under the Constitution of the United States. People tell me that I have been vindicated because the policies I have refused to support, going back to 1970 when I was a freshman at Columbia University, and the faculty and administration mocked me for, quote, believing in God and doing the right thing. They tested me on the Jewish issue and on the whole host of issues, on the Polish issue, all these issues over the years. And I have been steadfast, unwavering in my refusal to support any of it. People say I have been vindicated. Well, it's a little late. America, these policies have permanently, that is irreversibly, destroyed this country, and they continue to destroy this country. So people have told, all anybody in the United States is required to do is to follow the laws of the land, which I do. I'm not a threat to myself or anyone else. I'm a law-abiding citizen. So the idea, as activists tell me, from the far left to the far right, the political people like the Clintons, Obama, McCain, the Bushes, the Schumers, the Bloomberg, the Quinns, etc., etc. I would add to that the intellectual class, people like places like Columbia University, etc., etc. But again, I'm dedicating this show to the loving memory of my mother, Clara Copeland. I'm going to address that issue. First of all, I am an unaffiliated voter. Besides, after the death of Senator Teddy Kennedy, I disenrolled from the Democratic Party. I'm unaffiliated. I'm neither a Democrat nor a Republican, but even if I were a Democrat or a Republican, I'm not a slave to anyone. And let me start with the Clintons. The Clintons are a pariah even within the Democratic Party. No one who knows them in the know likes them, no one needs them, and no one wants them. Yet they have a grip on power. And that, I think, can be attributed to the pathetic nature of black people, whether it's in Africa who empower the Clintons or black Democrats in America, from Obama to black elected officials. And this has been a long-standing problem. Black people have empowered the Clintons. It's almost as if you would think the Clintons empowered black people. But we've been around a long, long time before the Clintons, and we have infinitely more power than the Clintons. Yet, these little black Democrats and other black people globally are like little slaves of the Clintons. I mean, I don't want to get personal, but neither Hillary or Bill Clinton are from slave-owning stock to begin with. Sharecropping, scallywag, white trash stock. But even if they were blue-blooded royals, we are all equal. And I am appalled by black political leadership conceding their power to the Clintons. If black people didn't empower the Clintons would have no base of support. They would have been has-beens a long time ago. A long time ago. Whether it's in Africa. And what has the Clinton Foundation done for Africa? Where is the empirical evidence? Nothing. Bill Clinton put his office in Harlem. What has he done for Harlem? I'll tell you what he's done. The last congressional cycle, there was a push. Harlem being the capital for Black America. There's a push to replace the black congressman in Harlem with an Hispanic. That's what Bill Clinton has done for Harlem. When Bill Clinton was governor of Arkansas, and this story should come out, he got elected because of black people. The blacks in Bill Clinton's administration were so disgusted with that pig being racist and discriminatory that they had a class action lawsuit against Governor Bill Clinton. And in that conservative Southern Judicial District, they won their class action lawsuit. But to show you how pathetic black people are, they helped them get reelected. The pathology in the black community has to do with black people being pathetic and conceding their power to people like the Clintons. It's absurd. It's absurd, but the black people do. From Obama to the African heads of state to the Caribbean, but the emperor has no clothes. The Clintons are nothing without black people. No one likes them in the know. No one needs them. No one wants them. But they are sustained because of pathetic black people. Bill Clinton could never set up a foundation in Latin America. They wouldn't tolerate it. They wouldn't have it. He couldn't set up a foundation in Asia, certainly not in Europe. So he goes to Africa, where the Africans concede everything to him. Again, I'm devoting this show to my mother. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. Today is Saturday, May the 11th. Activists from left to right tell me that my problem is the Democratic and political leadership. At this point in his presidency, Barack Obama should be fully in charge of his administration. A second-term president, he should be fully, if he had to defer to other people, power brokers within his party or other, he's been reelected. There is no reason for it. Moreover, he appears to me have made a Faustian deal with the Clintons and Bushes that could get him assassinated. Why is he deferring to the Clintons? There is no contract. He's the one who has the Harvard Law degree. If you have a Faustian deal or a contract that's going to get you assassinated, it's not valid. You break it. Moreover, truth be told, all those Clintonistas in his administration wishes he would push them aside so that they could do their own thing. They're not constantly micromanaged or bullied by the Clintons. Given their record, for example, Hillary, she failed as First Lady, right? Remember, she failed as First Lady. She was basically kicked out of the United States Senate. She failed as Secretary of State. And now the absurdity of her becoming President of the United States. This is propaganda. And, you know, they don't know the broader international community, even the people in the Democrat. Nobody wants her to run because it's going to destroy the Democratic Party, her running. It's going to destroy, if she runs, it's going to help destroy the Democratic Party. Who needs it? But part of it has to do with Obama's personality. He likes to hide behind other people when he does dirty things instead of owning up to, this is what I want to do. So he can say, the devil made me do it, the Clintons made me do it, the Bushes made me do it. When really these are things that Obama himself is committed to. But it is really, I mean, this is a large reason why I want to leave this country. Because people like the activists tell me from left to right, my problem and my mom's problem, the political leadership in this country. But if the Clintons are not, they're not, first of all, we are all equal under the Constitution of the United States. But Obama better be careful, because if he is at a point in his presidency where he can cut ties with anyone, and you know what, all those Clintonistas he's just saturated, they would be relieved if he did, because they're tired of the Clintons micromanaging them or bullying them or pushing them around. They want to do their own thing. He would be a hero to them, you know. But, you know, I as an African American am really appalled by the pathetic nature of black people. No one concedes their power to other people other than black people like black people. Too often black people say it's racism. But what does racism have to do with Obama in his second term still conceding power to the Clintons and the Bushes, when in so doing could get him assassinated? No contract that's going to get you assassinated is valid. It's void, null and void. He could cut his ties like that, and he'd be a hero even among the Clintonistas in his administration, certainly among the broader, and the Bushies too, certainly among the broader international community. So moving right along, the next thing I want to talk to you about is Hurricane Sandy. Now, you know, Southerners get a bum rap, right? There's been so much criticism in New York about the fact that roughly 11 days after Katrina, New Orleans got, Louisiana got all that federal aid, FEMA, yada, yada, yada. Yet, it's taken several months for New York to get money from the federal government for Sandy. Months versus a few days. But I just want to keep it real. Part of the reason is probably because what happened in the aftermath of 9/11, right? To me, it strains all credulity that all the 9/11 money that came into New York City, that the Wall Street area, and you know the people in Wall Street have to be furious. You understand? They have been threatening for years that they're going to leave New York. And it's stuff like this that fuels that threat. Now they got all that 9/11 money, right after 9/11, and the Wall Street rebuilt, they used their money and everything, yet the infrastructure, the rebuilding of the infrastructure, which was technically the responsibility of the state and local government, was largely ineffective. That's why Sandy was so devastating to the lower Manhattan area. But what happened to all that 9/11 money? What did they do with that money? Sandy was a horrific storm, but what happened to all the 9/11 money? Now we have Sandy, all right? So now we have Sandy, right? I mean, you don't have to be a genius to understand why the Southerners are reluctant to give, and the other Westerners and the Midwesterners were reluctant to give New York that hurricane relief money. Sandy was a horrific storm, right? It was a horrific storm, right? But, you know, we have a hurricane, they have weather forecasting, you know, people joke about it. It's like, it's a joke. But then again, it strains all credulity that the New York City officials had not been warned about us looming the probability, the relatively high probability of a storm like Sandy before Sandy hit. I find it impossible to believe. You can check it out. You know, we have the hurricane, all these government entities tracking storms and climatic changes, yada, yada, yada. I find it impossible to believe that New York City, the New York City officials, the mayor, the speaker and the council leaders, and the state, the senators and the governor of New York State have not been warned that a big storm like Sandy was going to hit. I find it impossible to believe. So the critically important question becomes, like, why didn't, if it is true that they were warned, why didn't they do anything? They did nothing really to protect the coast or to protect residents of the coast. So the impact, people outside of New York are unaware of the devastation that Sandy caused. Was it because the mayor and the council said, well, it's little people who are going to be affected, people in the outer boroughs, Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island? One big problem, it hit Wall Street too. All deja vu all over again. I know, I used to work down in that area. I know those people are furious. After 9/11, the infrastructure was not, the money was money, I don't know what the money was used for, but obviously it wasn't used to shore up the infrastructure to protect the city from another disaster. This one was a natural disaster. 9/11 was man-made. So they have to be furious. And Wall Street, they've been threatening to leave New York for a long time over this. They spent a lot of money rebuilding offices and everything down there. So, you know how I'm just being honest. Oh, there's a little people out in Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island. Those are little people. It's not going to hit Manhattan, very little. I don't know if that was the thinking, but to me, it strains all credulity that the state and city government had not been warned before, several years before, given all the changes in the climate, etc., that a storm like Sandy was a real possibility. Moreover, a few months before, it strains all credulity to me that the New York State and city and state officials were not warned that there was going to be a devastating storm like Sandy. But beyond that, what's disheartening to me is that I have seen little evidence that the city, it's the responsibility really of the city officials, that they have done anything with that money. And this is why those Southerners and those other Midwesterners and the center are reluctant to give New York City. They got like the $54 billion earmarked for New York City. And I see no evidence that they're doing anything to protect the residents of that area, the little people, the people who live in Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, from another devastating storm, which I might add, given all of the climatic changes, is probable. And they've done nothing with the money. What they've done is, they keep saying the money is going to be used for. The money is going to be used for. And then you see they pan to people saying, we haven't gotten the money yet. And what they've done is they've created so many high hurdles, like you have to have your house elevated, So if you get insurance money from private insurance, it's not enough to rebuild given the new requirements. So people are suffering in New York City because of the devastating impact of Hurricane Sandy. And many of these people are the people who keep the city going. Cops, firemen, government workers. These are the people who keep the city running. And so they are really hurting, but that news story is not told. And the news story that, and see the difference in New Orleans? Right away, they did all this proactive stuff, shored up the levee. Well, they had to shore up the levees. They made them even stronger than they had been before. But they did all the proactive stuff to help New Orleans be able to withstand another hurricane of the magnitude of Katrina. Yes, they could have done more, but they did a whole lot. New York, I don't see they've done anything. I don't see where they put barriers, the things in the oceans and stuff like that, like they have in Holland and stuff. And yet they're telling, and what they have done is created so many barriers for the people affected by Sandy. Like if you want to build it up, they've expanded the flood zone, and so to get it, your insurance premiums have gone through the roof. And if you want to rebuild, your insurance is not going to cover the cost, because the guidelines for rebuilding require that you have houses or elevated on platforms and all that stuff. And no one is talking about it. My question is, given these facts, A, nothing has been done, like barriers in the ocean to protect, to break up a hurricane, the force of a hurricane, the water damage, etc., etc. Very little has been done. Where is the money? Like the 9/11 money. Where has the Sandy money gone? I mean, you hear we're going to do, but where has it gone? This is why the Congress was reluctant after 9/11, and they were reluctant after Sandy to give New York City money. And I'm tired of people banging and bashing the crackers, so I use that as a term of affection, in the Congress, for telling New York to drop dead. They want to see, and it's really sad. People have no idea the devastation that storm caused. And New York, I just don't see New York bouncing back. I don't see it. Between Sandy and all the other things that have been, I've been saying there is a planned and systematic process to destroy this country. New York, that's another reason why I'm leaving the country, because I know as an economist, given the policies of the city government and given things like 9/11 and Sandy, it's just a matter of time before the bottom falls out on New York. And there's going to be a change in administration, right? I have no idea. I know, let me see how much time I have. Well, I know that in third world countries, right? When politicians loot the treasury, they take money that's earmarked for one thing and they use it for something else, or they just steal it. I'm not saying that's going on in New York, but I do know that it's unfair for all those people who have been so devastated by Sandy. And some of them are, they've been in Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island for generations, or some of them have beautiful homes. Little people in New York, by New York standards, means a lot of them were upper middle class and upscale by New York standards, but still by New York standards, they're little beautiful beachfront homes, etc. And so a lot of them are rebuilding who have the wherewithal too, in spite of everything. And the critically important question comes, what happens when there's the next storm? What happens when there's the next Sandy? If the city government, the mayor and the legislature, the council, have not put in place, and the senators, Schumer, Gillibrand, our 2 U.S. senators, Governor Cuomo, Mayor Bloomberg, Christine Quinn, the Speaker of the Council, and the other leaders have not put in place infrastructure to protect the shoreline again. It is really, you have no idea the devastation Hurricane Sandy has wreaked on New York, really. It was like 9/11. I happened to be worked in, I was a senior government official, and I was an assistant commissioner, and I worked in that area. So 9/11, I was there that day, and I saw it. When you see something, it has really, the impact is so much more profound than seeing a few second news clip on TV. But those people are hurting, and the money, they keep saying we've got the federal money and we're doing this, but I don't see the evidence. Where's the empirical evidence that the money's trickling down? The people who have resources, yeah. They are the ones who are able to rebuild. You know, those upscale people, upscale, but still little people in New York State, by New York City standards, senior brass, government officials and stuff, professionals, upwardly mobile professionals, upper middle class. Yeah, they can rebuild. But what happens if there's another storm and they're wiped away all over again? Like, I know how the people on Wall Street feel that. How the hell could Sandy devastate the infrastructure after all that 9/11 money to rebuild and reinforce the infrastructure in Lower Manhattan? I'm Beverly Copeland. This has been the Beverly Copeland Report. Happy Mother's Day.